Most of us go about our training with this mindset of like, oh, this is indefinite. It's just another session, another workout. No big deal. Just, it is what it is. There's always tomorrow. In fact, a lot of us live life like that as well, like with this almost like an expectation. This thing goes on forever. It's just, it's another day at work, another day here, there, everywhere. It's just a routine. It's just get going with it. I don't think that's the best thing to do, to kind of not appreciate the moment. I've said this many times before, and I often catch myself, out of the right mentality. It's almost like when you go to bed and then you wake up, it's almost like you forget half of the shit that you're supposed to be thinking about. I obviously do my best to kind of wake up in the morning and think about what my long-term goals are. And then, I kind of like precipitate that to a single day. Okay, what can I do today to make that long-term thing a little bit easier, like or more possible. It's funny how our brain kind of resets every day. But if you think about, this mentality of not appreciating the moment or just thinking about it's just another day. If you change that mentality and you think about, okay, there will be a finality. There's a finality to all of this. Life doesn't go on forever. There's going to be a day when we die. There's going to be a day when we do our last rep, our last session. All this stuff is coming. So if you think about that, and then you think about some whatever arbitrary number of amount of reps, sets, training days that you have left in your life, then all of a sudden each day, today, becomes more important. What am I going to do today? Because let's say there's 1,000 of these days left. Let's say 1,000, whatever, it could be more. Depends how often you train. But let's say there's 1,000 of these days. Today is one of 1,000. Do you want to waste it? Do you want to waste and just lay around, go through the motions, do whatever, just kind of get on with it and tick the thing? Or do you use today as an opportunity to get better, to get closer to that goal? I sometimes feel like reverse engineering stuff is the best thing. Where do you want to go? Let's start off with the result. Where do you want to be? Where do you want to go? And then reverse that backwards. Okay, so what can I do today to make that thing happen? Even on days when you feel like shit, I always say to people, man, you can do something to just a millimeter get in the right direction. It might not be, sets and reps kind of thing. It could be just you rocking up, your body hurts, everything's broken, blah, 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 all that stuff. You're rocking up and you're going through the motion, still doing, 10 sets of 10 with a freaking empty bar. But the fact that you are in the presence of the barbell, of the rack, in that ambience, you're going through those ranges of motion, you're thinking about hip positioning, knee positioning, where your shoulders are, where your breath is, all that kind of stuff. Because you are doing that, you're most likely to be thinking about that, and you're most likely to, let's say, by fluke, by chance, come up with a answer, come up with a just a progress to that puzzle solving. That's how I look at all these things. And so let's say there's an X amount of days left. I really want to train every day so I can maximize just by default me being in that presence. A lot of guys, let's say, train 3 days a week and they come in and for 3 days a week they get it. They get after it, they gun it, whatever, all that stuff. And then all the other times, all the other days off, like the other 4, they go out, do other things, blah, 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 which is fine. I have no freaking problem with that. Everyone can live their life how they want. But the chances are when you are doing some other activity, you're not going to be thinking about squat every day. You're not going to be, or squatting or deadlifting or whatever the case might be. You're not going to be thinking about that. You're going to be thinking about whatever is happening in that moment. If you're going to play basketball, if you're going for a walk through the woods or the beach, you're going to be thinking about some of that stuff, most likely. There's a chance that you could be thinking about squatting while you are bike riding, but you're not going to be in the moment. You're kind of going to be out of it. So I always say to people, does not matter what sort of day it is, man, you can always at least come in and think about it. You can come in and think about it and kind of get on with it. Because the bottom line is finality, man. There's going to be a final session, final rep, final everything. And so if you have that mentality and you have that awareness that this thing we call life is going to end someday, then it's almost like a kick up the ass. You think to yourself, man, what, do I really want to waste them? There's not a lot of them left. think about it. Whatever the number is, I remember hearing it once from somebody or reading it somewhere that if we were to learn the date, the time of our passing, it could be in 70 years from now, right? It doesn't really matter when it is. We would automatically feel depressed. It's like an immediate depression feeling because there is a moment in time we now know that we are going to cease to exist. Our life ends. I don't know about you guys, man, but I find that so freaking powerful. Now, I don't know the date, the time, and all of that stuff. That's all, we'll find out eventually kind of thing. But I know for a fact that it will happen at some time. And thinking about that, I'm like, damn. So this ends? I remember when I was a kid, man, I used to just think to myself, oh yeah, that old person, they must have been around forever. Forever. Like, oh, death is so far away. But as you age, I guess my experience is a little bit different because I work with people who are, much further kind of down the track of life and death might be around the corner. And so they're thinking about that, and that energy kind of washes over me. I think about my existence, their existence, life and death. That's kind of the nature of healthcare, really. And that, these experiences, these kind of environments, this ambience that you kind of find yourself in kind of, gets on top of you and you think about this stuff. And I think it's a big benefit for us to think about our finality, our end. Because then everything that we do right now becomes more meaningful. We don't waste it because there's a fixed quantity of these days left, man. And so then you kind of come in, you're like, all right, this is a very important day today because it's one out of an X amount, right? You respect the moment. You become grateful for the moment. Man, I don't know how many times I've had these thoughts, these cascades of thoughts, and I always come back to the same freaking idea that, man, it's all in the mind. It's all in the mindset, everything. I said to somebody the other day, man, the difference between a mediocre athlete and a superstar and a GOAT is just mentality, man. A lot of these guys just go through the motion. They might have all the talent in the world. Everything's on the plate. They just have to freaking reach and grab it, but they just don't have it in them. They don't have that mentality, that mind. They go training and it's just walking through the park. They're not really meaning the training session. And all this stuff kind of adds up. It adds up. And then when you need this particular skill performed or the moment arises, all these bad habits that we create in training just pop up and then blah. That bad results happen for different athletes and then you kind of see them kind of, wasting an opportunity. It's all about a mindset. Even if you start off with the day thinking about today is very important. Today is significant. Might not be at all in terms of the sets and numbers and everything that you're doing for the day. It's significant because you're never going to get this shit back again. This day, done. And I don't know what it is about life, man, but man, this shit's speeding up for some reason to me, man. It's speeding up. Like days are just flying by. These rosters that I get from work just seem to be flying by. It's like, a day used to be long. Now it's just like I wake up, I do a couple of things, it's nighttime. It's like, what the hell, man? I've done nothing. The only thing that I think to myself is, there's a whole bunch of routine stuff like, family, kids, doing stuff, blah, 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 all that stuff. There's only kind of few moments that kind of catch you. I'm like, oh, all right, so this is what the day is about. I feel like the rest of the days is just kind of like going through the motion. It's weird, man. So you have to make these days feel valuable because they are. You can't get them back. So whatever the session is, whatever you're thinking about, make it count, man. Make it count. That doesn't mean you stick your head through the wall with effort. That doesn't mean that. You can still rest and make it meaningful. You just don't waste it. I don't know what wasting is for you. It's going to be different for all of us. But just at least be mindful. Be mindful of now, of the presence, of how lucky you are to be here. Man, I sometimes at work I meet people and I'm like, they just shake the foundations, man. Just yesterday I met somebody that was 34 in terminal cancer. It's just you look at them, you look at their eyes, and they look at you, and you're like, man, that's, I don't know, you picture yourself in their shoes and it's like, wow, man, just the weight of life, the weight of the situation. You start to reflect what you're doing, what you're not doing. It's just like, sometimes I think, man, how could God do something like that to somebody? It's such a weird feeling. Like, I feel guilty saying this, but being in her presence was a gift to me. As crazy as that sounds, because she has changed my thought, my energy ever since that moment. And I've met a whole bunch of people like this in my career, 13, 14 years of nursing. And every time you get in the same room with people that are like near death, and they're conscious and they can talk to you, look at you, it's just a different energy, man. Like, it's almost like they are in between the two worlds, the now and the afterlife. It's almost like they're flickering back and forth. And when you look at them, you feel like you're looking at almost like a portal, because it almost feels like they've kind of felt and seen what's on the other end, on the other side of this portal. And then, but they're present, they're here still. It's a weird feeling, man. It's a weird feeling when you're in the presence of somebody that's looking at, that being their reality, that they're going to die soon. Makes me reflect about what I'm doing, and makes me reflect. Today's session, it was significant, man. It was important to me because it happened. And when you think about your finality, when you think about that tombstone that's at some point in the future going to be resting above you, it's guaranteed. When you think about those thoughts, man, like right now, it feels incredible. It's almost like an out-of-body experience. It's like, it's almost like hard to be sad. It's a weird feeling. I don't have the vocabulary to explain exactly how I feel. Other than like the words, like powerful comes in to my mind. It's a powerful mood. It's like, it shifts your mood, it shifts your focus. It's, man, everything's mentality. But when you're in the presence of a person like that, whether you speak to them or not, it's just a different energy field. And my frequency, my energy frequency field in my body, in my soul has changed because my body was close to that body and that mind and that soul. And now I'm kind of carrying this change in mood, frequency, energy. And maybe you listen to this video and the tone of my voice and what I'm trying to portray in this video will change the way you think about it. It's just a powerful thing. See how like it all kind of flows on. Just appreciate today, man. Appreciate where you are, who you are, the people around you. Appreciate everything, man. It's this freaking live thing, man. It's just a flicker, man. It really is. It's just a flicker and then we're gone. Appreciate all of you guys. I really do. I really appreciate you guys supporting me in this journey that I'm on, sharing my thoughts, sharing my weightlifting experience. I say these things, I appreciate you, but I don't know what else I can say. But I honestly, it means a lot to me that you've come to the end of this video and just means a lot, man. I'm out of words. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.